So before we get started, just a quick overview of what you can expect throughout the next hour or so. We'll give you an overview of Moët Hennessy, tell you a little bit more about our organization, our culture, career opportunities. We'll tell you a bit more about the Pathways program, which is a diversity internship program that we're excited to be launching next year. And then we'll wrap it up with a panel discussion from our early career professional talents who've joined us for today. And you'll have an opportunity to ask them some questions. Okay, so many of you might not know, but Moët Hennessy is part of LVMH. We're actually the MH in LVMH, and we have several sister brands within the fashion and leather goods space, watches and jewelry, perfumes and cosmetics, but we're actually the only wines and spirits company as part of LVMH. And our portfolio is made up of several champagne, sparkling wines, still wines, and spirits. A fun fact that I like to share: Champagne actually needs to be produced in the Champagne region of France in order to be considered champagne. Otherwise, it would be a sparkling wine. So that's the difference between the two that many people don't know. Some of our more popular brands are Dom Perignon, Veuve Clicquot, Chandon, Chateau d'Esclans, which has Whispering Angel, which is a really popular rosé in the US, Hennessy, Belvedere, Volcan, which is our tequila. So we have several different wines and spirits brands across these four categories that really make up a very diverse portfolio for Moët Hennessy. You can see that we have a presence globally. A lot of our maisons meaning our brand houses where our products are produced. A lot of them are in Europe, mainly in France, because like I mentioned, in order for champagne to be considered champagne, it needs to be produced in the Champagne region of France. So we have a lot of maisons based there. And we have a lot of representation in the US. Chandon and Joseph Phelps are based out in California. And we have our headquarters here in New York, as well as several satellite offices throughout key cities in the US. And we have opportunities across all of these various locations. And just to show you, these are all of our brands that were on the previous slide as well, but really demonstrating the history that exists in Moët Hennessy in our portfolio. Some of our brands date all the way back to the 1600s with Dom Perignon, all the way to our most recent acquisition last year with Joseph Phelps. So we have a very long history of brands and different acquisitions coming into our portfolio, and that's something that we really like to highlight when we're engaging with consumers on a day-to-day, and that's something that really is attractive about our brands to our consumers. Tiara from our diversity inclusion team was joining us. Tiara, are you on the line? She was going to be a few minutes late. Okay, she might not be here yet. So I'll kick off this session. And Francesco, if you see Tiara join, please let me know. So want to tell you a little bit more about the culture at Moët Hennessy. We really have a focus on our people. We truly believe that our people are our most important assets, and we recognize that a company cannot operate without its people. So we really put a lot of time and attention into developing and coaching and growing our talents. And with that, we have a very strong emphasis on diversity and inclusion, specifically when it comes to inclusion. And at Moët Hennessy, Alexa, if you could go to the next slide, we actually our diversity inclusion strategy actually starts with inclusion. So we refer to our D&I team as IDE, Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity. And that's really because we truly believe that our employees need to feel included, valued, represented in order to be able to effectively make an impact. And so we put a heavy focus on making sure our talents feel included, while also making sure our employee population is diversely represented and that there's equity and equal experiences across the board. As part of our IDE strategy, we have a strong focus on people, our talents, like I mentioned earlier, making sure our people feel included, making sure we have a diverse representation across different cultures, different experiences. That's really how we'll be able to round out our innovations and push the organization forward. But our brands also are diversely represented, and you could see that in the history of our brands. We really make sure that as we're moving forward with different brand initiatives, we have a diversity aspect. We're engaging with diverse consumers, and we're really highlighting the diversity in our brands to make sure we're including different ethnic groups across each of the regions. And then lastly, with our culture, and specifically in our culture, we have a focus on our employee resource groups. Those are different groups that allow employees to get involved, to kind of contribute to the organization and have a purpose outside of their day-to-day responsibilities. So we have several different employee resource groups outlined on this slide. You don't have to be a member of any of these groups in order to join. Even if you're not a female, you can join the LSMH employee resource group, because you can join as an ally. It's a really great way to expand your network and get involved and contribute to the organization outside of your current role, and really come together and celebrate the differences and the diverse backgrounds that exist across our organization. And I will pass it over to Alexa to talk a little bit more about career opportunities.
Thanks so much, Alessandra. Super excited to talk about career opportunities here at MHUSA. There's a common misconception that Moët Hennessy is solely a wine and spirits production company, when in actuality, we have a ton of different functions that make up our organization, from sales to brand marketing, to creative services, accounting, all the other departments you see listed on the screen. And as far as hiring goes, we do just-in-time hiring here at MHUSA, which means that every single position you see on our career site is an immediate need for the team, and we give offers out on a rolling basis. So again, if you're interested in full-time opportunities, please scan the QR code listed on the screen. And just to note that if you don't see an opportunity that fits your background, at that current moment, you can set job alerts on the LVMH career site by level, by department, by location. So you'll be notified when a job that does interest you becomes available. Then diving right into our MHUSA Pathways program, which Alessandra introduced as our brand new diversity-focused summer internship program. So the Pathways program, it's very much in alignment with our We Are One strategy. And really, we're giving the opportunity for 12 diverse students to gain industry experience at MHUSA. And the entire goal of the program is to start to build that junior diverse talent pipeline, where we'll develop this talent into the future leaders of MHUSA. We're also, very much in our IDE strategy, we are taking this as an opportunity to start to diversify our employee population that much more. So, cadence and placement of the program. It's going to be a 12-week annual program encompassing 12 interns. 6 will be placed in our marketing department, and 6 will be placed in our commercial organization. The 6 marketing interns will be based in our New York City office, and our commercial interns, all 6 of them, will be scattered throughout our satellite offices within the United States, from Florida to Georgia to Texas, Chicago, California, as well as New York. Eligibility requirements. So in order to participate in the program, students must be rising seniors, so current juniors that will be graduating between December 2024 and May 2025. Students must encompass a pillar of diversity. And due to the nature of our business, you have to be 21 years or older at the start of our internship program on May 29th, 2024 for this cohort. As far as campus recruitment, we're engaging in a ton of campus recruitment initiatives, both virtually as we are today, as well as on-site throughout the Northeast. really engaging with diverse talent, networking, and we're hoping to fill our class both with campus recruitment initiatives as well as, through inbound applications as well. Selection and hiring, I'm going to save for the next slide, where I'll give you an in-depth overview of our interview process to participate in the Pathways program. Induction. So we have a comprehensive 2-day induction orientation planned in our New York City office, where every single intern, no matter where you are based, will be flown out to New York to participate. So it'll be an opportunity for the cohort to meet the rest of the interns in the class. You'll also be given a structured onboarding plan, as well as starting to be introduced to the different projects that you'll be completing throughout the duration of the internship. That takes me into projects. So in addition to your function-related tasks in marketing or commercial, you will have the opportunity to complete an individual business-focused project that will be presented to senior leadership at the end of the program, as well as participating and completing a diversity-focused group capstone project, where you will be paired with a specific employee resource group, like Alessandra mentioned beforehand, to complete that initiative. As far as learning and development, again, aside from those function-related tasks, we have built in a ton of learning and development opportunities into the program, from intern gatherings to lunch and learns with other departments, to organizational and industry trainings. And in addition to, your manager, you'll also be placed and paired with a specific mentor that you'll be able to engage with throughout the duration of the internship as well. Evaluation. So you will be evaluated during your internship in the middle as well as at the end. And regarding those final presentations, senior leadership will be evaluating you based on our leadership growth capabilities at MHUSA. And why those evaluations are important, very exciting. We are hoping to give up to 6 of the 12 interns return offers to participate in our management trainee program after graduation. So what that would look like, you would complete your internship, you'd go back to school, you'd complete a WSET Level 1 Wines and Spirits certification during school, you'd graduate, and then kickstart that management trainee program in September of 2025 after you graduate. So moving on to our recruitment process and what that looks like. The first things first, I will review all of the applications coming in, and then I will have an initial screening call with the candidates that stand out to me based on their resumes. And then once I screen a bunch of different candidates, again, coming from campus engagement initiatives, as well as just regular inbound applications, I will pass on standout candidates to interview with 2 of our Pathways leaders, one from the marketing organization and one from the commercial organization, in a panel style interview. And why we've decided to do panel style interviews, we're really hoping to get multiple perspectives, avoid bias, but also we're really looking for organizational fit, and not just a fit for marketing and not just a fit for commercial, because ultimately the goal is for candidates and for students to participate in that management trainee program after graduation, which is rotational in nature. Then the top 2 candidates for each position will interview with Alessandra and Tiara, our VP IDE. And then once we've identified the 12 final candidates, we will be extending offers on a rolling basis, which we've actually already extended 2 offers. And we have a very ambitious hiring timeline of Thanksgiving to have all offers signed and sealed. So we really encourage you, if you meet the eligibility requirements and this program excites you from what you've heard today, highly encourage all of you to apply. Now, moving on to our early career spotlights, super excited to have 3 early careers professionals from Moët Hennessy USA join us today in a panel style discussion. Again, before we get into a Q&A, I would love for each of our panelists to do a quick 3 to 5 introductions of themselves. So I'm going to kick it off to Thaisa to kickstart.
Hi guys, I'm Thaisa. So a little bit about myself. I was born in Brazil, in like Porto Alegre. It's like the southern part of Brazil, so not any like the big Rio or São Paulo. But I was born there, and then I moved around a lot when I was little. I moved to the US. I lived in New York for a bit, Boston, Miami, even Kansas for a year. But that's another story. And then education, I actually went to 2 different universities. I went to Florida State for the first 2 years, and then I went and graduated from the University of Florida. Um, I graduated this past May, so I'm very new to the role in MH. So, fun fact, when I talk to someone about how I got this job, I had never thought a lot about the entertainment industry or wines and spirits or anything, but you can really do anything you want, especially in MH. I love it here. Alessandra knows that. But I was pre-med until graduation, really. I graduated with a biology degree. I thought I wanted to do medicine, and then I got to junior year and I'm like, no, I don't. I think my dad wants me to do medicine. It wasn't me. But and then I kind of switched up. What I did to get into more the business world, I always really liked networking, but I had never really seen that because most of what I did throughout high school and everything was volunteer in hospitals and everything related to medicine, which I still love to volunteer and stuff, but I wanted to try something different. So I got a job at this local company that I took a random class in college. And my friends were like, why are you taking this like career class? Like you have so many other classes to take. But I really wanted to do it. And turns out I really encourage people that don't know what they want to take these classes because my professor was actually the CEO of this company and he offered jobs for people that wanted to like see about the business world. So I worked there for 2 years and he became a great mentor and he was always telling me, your major doesn't matter. Obviously, unless you want to be like a lawyer in medicine, then you should study that. But it doesn't matter if you have in your mind that you want to do something, you can. So he really encouraged me. And then my summer going into senior year, I got my internship at Moët Hennessy. And I had never really heard about it until I had to write a paper about it. And I found an internship opportunity in Miami, where I'm from. I grew up there. It was in their travel retail office, so it's not really MHUSA, but it's obviously connected. And I loved it. I was in the sales internship, so the sales sector, and I kind of got to learn about MH and all the rich history we have and all our products. And it's honestly amazing. We have so many resources where you can see the where everything is grown, just learning about the brands. And I feel like that was what really made a difference for me and why I loved Moët Hennessy so much, because there's always something new to learn. They have so many resources. Everyone's there to help you. Even when I was interning in Miami, I came to the New York office and I asked to come in to like meet Alessandro or meet someone that was in my team in New York. And they were so open and like, yeah, come. I got to tour the office. So I love the company, and not only the products wise, but the people. So what Alessandro said, that it's a very big people company and they put their people first. I agree. And after that, I went back to college to my senior year. So kind of how the Pathways program goes, I guess. And I kept in touch with my managers, Alessandra, which was my HR person during the internship. So she would check up during the internship. So throughout the year, I kept in touch, which is very important. And I was super excited. I knew I wanted to work for MH and I was looking for job offers. And it was actually Alessandra who told me that this opening came because it was getting time around graduation and I wasn't finding anything. And so now I applied, I had like the interview process, and I started in June. Now I work in the New York office headquarters office. I moved here and I'm in the commercial team. So I kind of work for the hotels and bars, and we basically, those are our accounts. We have great activations. It's a really fun job and very rewarding too. So I love it. I'd love to answer any of your questions after. I don't want to take up too much time. And then I guess some fun facts about me. I'm a Patriots fan because I lived in Boston, so I know that's a hot take, but I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. So I guess I kind of like the Chiefs now too. If you know, you know. And I speak Portuguese, English, and Spanish. I want to learn French because it's a French company. And I guess my biggest takeaway, like I said, is if you don't know what you want to do, don't worry. You will find your way, and maybe it'll be within MH. I highly recommend it. So yeah, that's me.
First off, that was so adorable. That was so great. Hi everyone. My name,
Thanks.
yeah, all good. Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Roberson. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. Now I live here. in Brooklyn, New York. We think my career journey, I guess just talk about my education first. So I started off at the University of Houston, decided that one day I wanted to move to New York and experience that. So I transferred schools, went to Pace University for a year, got to New York, figured out that right then at that point in my life, this is not where I needed to be, went back to Houston and finished off my degree at the University of Houston. So got a degree in business with a focus on supply chain management. So my professional career has taken me through diverse industries, from CPG. I did some work with 7-Eleven, also in fashion when I was over at Foot Locker. And now I'm in wines and spirits, and this is by far the best industry that I've been in, no joke. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. And then to talk just more about my professional experience. So a little bit different. Coming out of school, I initially went into a finance role. It was doing work, pretty much finance work up until, well, when I joined with the company. Even when I joined with MH, I was still doing finance work. It wasn't until about a year ago that I had an amazing opportunity through some of the diversity inclusion work that I had been doing. I made a very good connection with one of our senior leaders who was able to champion for me. And essentially, I moved over to the brand marketing side. And within wine and spirits, it's very much so possible to kind of change disciplines in a sense. So yeah, now I've been in brand marketing. I'm working on the Hennessy brand team as one of the brand managers. A little bit more about myself outside of work. I'm really passionate just about like exploring new places. I dare I say I have a shopping addiction. I really enjoy retail therapy. And then just generally, I like being outside. I've been to over 15 countries, so I'm always going somewhere. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and looking forward to kind of answering you guys' questions and things like that. So I'll pass it over to Kasai.
Hello, everyone. I am Kasai. Born and raised here in New York City, but I've lived in both Orlando and Los Angeles just for a very small amount of time, maybe 2 years in LA and Orlando just for like a few months. I attended Oneonta State University in upstate New York, graduated in 2017. With my bachelor's in music business. So a lot of my early career, or while I was in college, all of my internships were based around entertainment. I did a lot. I was very ambitious. I was someone that would double intern. So that's why you see just so many. So during the summer, my first summer, I landed SOBs, which is one of our like popular music venues here in New York City. And at the same time, I did it with Fool's Gold. And then the next year, I went back to Fool's Gold, and then I went to 300. After that, I did a little bit of work at Alamo. So I was all over the place. I really was passionate about music. And, just a little bit into that, I just wanted to try something new. And I found myself in the fashion industry after I moved to Los Angeles. And I worked for this small French company that had a partnership with Neiman Marcus. It was called Atelier Notify. So it was just surrounded a lot around like personalizing things. We had like a design team. So like embroidery, laser, hand painting, just like everything design I managed. And COVID happened, and COVID stopped, a lot. So I decided to move back here. Yes, I love Fool's Gold too. I moved back to New York, and I didn't know. I was not sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't working anymore. And you'll see in one of my fun facts, I just decided to move out the country. I moved to the Dominican Republic for a little bit just to volunteer my time, just to, center. And while I was there, I was like, I'm just going to try a new industry. And that is what got me into wine and spirits. It was just an opportunity to just try something new yet again, because I was already bouncing around. And I've been with Moët Hennessy since January of 2022, and I've worked on 2 teams. My first team was the private client development team, so more sales. And now I switched over to the spirits portfolio. So Belvedere, Volcan, Woodinville, Glenmorangie, and Ardbeg. So whiskeys, tequila, and vodka. And some of my fun facts, I love going out, new restaurants, trying new things. I love animals and volunteering. So sometimes I'll just like go to a new zoo or I'll volunteer at an animal shelter. Of course, I love concerts. I like traveling for concerts. So just this past like week, I just took myself to Philly just to see like Daniel Caesar, just to like get out of the city. And I love all things Marvel, everything Marvel related. And that is all about me.
Thank
So
you.
Alexa and do you want me to hop in, Alessandra?
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to introduce you, Tiara, actually, but
Sure.
feel free to jump in.
Yeah. So everyone, my apologies for being late. I'm actually on another college campus. I'm on Morehouse and Spelman campus. I had a panel that ran over, so I joined late. Hopefully they did a great job of covering the IDE group. So I am Tiara Chesmer-Williams. I am Vice President and Head of Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity at Moët Hennessy. So I partner very, very closely with Alexa and Alessandra on the Pathways program. Obviously, just an amazing program that they put together that is focused on really building our diverse pipeline of leaders throughout throughout Moët Hennessy. Super excited that you guys are all joining us today. I know our group of early career professionals that gave insights into their journey, but hopefully you will be honored in this journey as well with us. So really want to open that up for questions for myself, Alexa, Alessandra, and then our group. So thank you so much for being here, everyone.
Thanks, Tiara. So we're going to open up to the Q&A session. If you have questions you want to submit anonymously, you could scan the QR code and I'll be monitoring on that on my end, or you can submit via the chat. But as the questions are coming in, we're going to kick off the panel discussion with 2 questions of our own for the panelists. Starting off with, what has your experience been like at Moët Hennessy? So if you each want to jump in any order, it's fine.
I can hop in. Cool.
Sure.
So when I initially came to the company, I was in a finance role. So very, very different feeling than my marketing role here. Not a bad thing at all, just very different. I think in finance, it can be a little stiff sometimes. It's a little bit more of a, I guess, controlled environment, whereas brand marketing is a little bit more loose and fun, and you got a lot more creative. But in terms of just MH itself and my journey, I think, being a Black and queer man on top of that it's been really good. I think everyone here is very accepting. It's a very inclusive environment. You're able to show up to work as your authentic self, and that makes you feel really good and want to come in the door every day. As with every company, there are things that we can improve on, but I think overall, from all the other companies that I've worked for, this is hands down the best. And once again, wines and spirits industry, and this is where you want to be. So that's my little blurb there. I don't know if Kasai, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Just to build on that, hands down, working in multiple industries, Moët Hennessy, or wine and spirits in general, but Moët Hennessy, like I always thought when I joined Moët Hennessy, for it to be my first introduction into wine and spirits, that I was spoiled. Like I'm just like, you have everything and the experiences, and of course working I was on the sales side, but still in a marketing kind of way, but more on sales. And now that I've switched over to like actually working on the brand team, like I don't know, just like Ryan said, I absolutely love it here. There's never like a boring moment. I work out of the office here in New York, so there's just like we've been working on a lot, just a lot more community, and there's just always something going on just to bring us together, and getting to work with people from the different departments, it's just like never ending. So yes, I love it.
I agree with what Kasai and Ryan said. I think it's pretty clear we love working here, but I agree. I feel like every time you go into the office, and even if you work remotely or in the satellite offices, there's always something going on. Other than like getting people together at the cafe for like a happy hour and like at like 5 p.m. Like, and it's ways to just like connect with people and meet people from different channels or different departments. And everyone's so open to like talking. And even if you're in a role that, let's say, I'm in the commercial, the prestige side, the commercial side, which is more sales oriented. I've like talked with people that were in trade marketing or in more marketing roles. And if you just ask like, oh, let's grab a coffee, or if you're in a different part of the country, like let's have a Zoom meeting and you can shadow them. Like everyone is very inclusive in the sense if you want to ask and like learn about someone else's position, they're very open. They're not trying to gatekeep anything. And the whole company, even if you go to HR and you tell them like, oh, I kind of want to learn more about this, they can have a conversation with you. So I feel like this is my first job out of college. So I haven't had a lot of other experiences, but from what I've heard, Moët Hennessy is amazing. All my friends say they love my job, and I'm like, I know I love my job too. And sometimes it doesn't even feel like a job. Like, yes, there is work, but it's just so fun. I feel like I'm never tired, like, or like, oh, I have to go to work, because it's like what you're working for. And like, at least for me, like learning about every brand and like everything you're doing just has such a deep history behind it that I find it so fun. So it makes you excited to go and to do that work. And I think the biggest thing too, even like if you're just starting off, like I just started off now, I'm an analyst. If you ask your managers or your team, or even from another team, like, oh, I kind of want to see how this plays out, or can I go visit you? Can I go with you to visit an account? They're always very open. So the opportunities are endless here. So yeah, that's my spiel on MH.
Thank you all. And one more question before we transition to questions from the participants. How would you describe the culture at Moët Hennessy?
I guess if it's one word, it'll probably be inclusive. Very inclusive culture, right? We do a lot of IDE work. We have a lot of ERGs. I'm one of the co-lead for one of our ERGs. And when I tell you, everyone that works within our ERGs or anything around diversity are very passionate about what they do. And I think it's very interesting because a lot of organizations don't necessarily have the best track record when it comes to being authentic around diversity and inclusion work. But I feel like with us, it's a little bit different. We really put in the time and try to be thoughtful and intentional about the programming that we do and making sure everyone has a community. And we really do foster a sense of community at the company. So inclusive would be the word I would use to describe the culture.
Ryan, we lead with inclusivity, right? That's why we're called the IDE group instead of DEI. There we go.
I can jump in. I'll say, if we're doing one word, I'll follow. I'll say unique. I've experienced working in different industries. Yet again, I'm just gonna keep saying that. And at Moët Hennessy, I don't know. I don't think that there's a company like it, honestly. Working with different teams, and even when I joined, I was immediately welcomed by like one of the ERGs, actually multiple. And I had different teams like asking me to join them, even if I was just like kind of connected to them. So like when I joined, I worked on the prestige team at the time, and someone from Krug just reached out to me and like gave me a bottle of Krug. Okay, you know what? I want you to kind of be familiar with what we're doing, join this tasting. So like you get more involved with, they want you to be passionate about the company in general. And I felt really included just to know that the different teams will involve you, even having like one-on-ones with the finance team. And like, these were things that it was beyond normal training. I was like literally integrated into the business and like feeling like I was a part of a community and supported by like everyone. So yes, unique, absolutely unique.
I was gonna say inclusive, but now I feel like I have to pick something else. I think another word that could describe MH would be bold. I feel like we are very bold and we have so much to offer with like so many like things are in our portfolio, from like champagne that like you drink like to celebrate, or like in the beach, to like vodka, tequila. I feel like, and a lot of like the brands themselves are very bold in like the way we market them and the way we put them out into the world, and we're always taking risks with new things or new people representing a brand. And I feel like that's something that I love, that there's always something new and there's always something that you didn't even expect to happen that is happening. And it's very cool to see from different teams and like hear things like, oh, this is happening, and we all get so excited about it. So I feel like bold could also be described.
Thank you. So to transition to some of the questions that are coming in through the QR code, one of them being, it seems like everyone has been in multiple industries. What are some things that Moët Hennessy offers that no one else does?
I'm going to say this one because I just told you guys I really like to shop. To be a part of the LVMH group, you get access to all of the sister brand sales. So it's actually a really cool perk to have. Something a little bit different than what I've experienced most of the time when I was working for like Foot Locker. You know, I can only get things from Foot Locker, no opportunities outside of that. I think it's very interesting because LVMH is such a big company. You get access to a lot of different brands and opportunities, even outside of MH.
I would say that is a very big perk. That is very nice. We got a lot of discounts. But not with that. I feel like a really cool thing is our ERGs. So our employee resource groups. We get we have a lot of events either in person. In New York, there's a lot in person or a lot on Zoom. For example, for sorry, for Hispanic Heritage Month, we had a lot of Zooms, which was like very inclusive. Like people from, there's like people that are just in MH, but also in LVMH. So you have people from Dior, like Givenchy, like all joining, and you get to meet them. Also LVMH is very inclusive in the different sectors we have. Even an example, yesterday there was an LVMH networking event in Givenchy, one of the stores in Soho in New York. So I went with one of my coworkers that we signed up from MH, and we went, and there was a panel of the president of Givenchy Couture and Beauty, and they were just telling us about their careers, and we got to ask questions, and then we got to meet them and like meet everyone that was there. So I feel like that's something very different MH and LVMH in general has to offer, because there's a lot of crossovers and there's so many opportunities for meeting very like great and like powerful women, powerful people in general, that you can really network and build a relationship with.
Yes, all of that. It's the access to more brands. Exactly what they said. Yes.
Okay. Another question, from your perspective, how does LVMH, or specifically Moët Hennessy, adapt to industry changes and trends?
I think a lot of the time we try to kind of dictate the trends, right? Or if not, lead them in ways. I think we work a lot around innovation and trying to be as innovative as possible in our industry. So a lot of the times we have, you know, agencies we may work with, or, you know, partners, supplier partners that kind of keep us abreast of what's going on in the marketplace. And then, of course, the people that work here are very much in tune. So we definitely try to make sure that we, if not are setting the trends, we are one of the first to kind of hop on the wave in a sense.
And Ryan, I actually like to expand off of that as well. And that's honestly the power of diverse teams, to have those different perspectives. And honestly, this program is contributing to those diverse teams. We want to bring different experiences, perspectives, so on, so we understand our consumer and we can lead those trends in a better way. So absolutely.
Another question, and I'm going to reword this question a bit to make it more relevant for the panelists. What qualities do you believe are essential in order for employees to be successful in the organization?
I think you have to be able to be a chameleon in some ways, and definitely be open to different ways of working, because everyone doesn't work the same, and most of the time you're working on with cross-functional teams and on certain projects, and just kind of learning to adapt with people's working styles, and then also kind of coming into it with no ego, is another big thing. There's a lot of people who've been in the industry for a very long time, but that doesn't necessarily mean the way that they work is correct or right. There is no right way, right? So just really trying to come in with an open mind, and then also being able to adapt and work well with the team, because it's really the team that makes everything, the magic happen, as we say. So that's what I would say.
And I can even add to that, like when you learn, being open to learning people's like just like the ways of working takes a lot of like willingness to communicate. Like, don't be afraid to raise your hand, don't be afraid. And it, like I've grown within this company to feel comfortable, like even being, if I'm joining a new team, if I'm speaking with new people, like I will raise my hand for things. I will ask questions that I need clarity on. Like, don't let things kind of just go under, because you work more, just like Ryan said, you're going to work with a lot of teams more than likely. And, you know, you want to be able to do your best. So whatever works for you, make sure that you're communicating that and being open to whatever works for someone else, so that everything is cohesive.
I agree. I feel like that and prioritizing is really big, because there are weeks that there's not a lot going on. There's weeks that there's a lot going on. So you just need to know what's more urgent and of the matter. But you are working with a lot of different channels. And I feel like one of the important things, like Asai and Ryan said, is really being able to take everything into consideration. Don't come in with an ego. And I feel like something that always has stuck with me is listen. Like, don't listen to what people are saying, people that have been there longer, or even just people that have been there the same amount of time as you, because learning their different ways of working, maybe there will be something that you actually like take in and like make it your way of working. And because I've done that, like with my coworkers, like sometimes I've learned something and now I use it. And it's, I think, constant communication. You will find a lot of things you didn't know were either an easier way to do something or a better way to do something. And with that, you also learn how people work. So you're gonna ask for things in different ways with different people. And I feel like actively listening and like learning how each coworker likes to work will make your job a lot easier and theirs. So I feel like that's a good way to succeed in any job.
Thank you. I want to pause. Francesco, are there any questions that you see coming into the chat?
Yeah, there are a couple. And just to catch up, there are some questions answered in the chat. It sounds like the eligibility is for graduates from December 24 to May 25th. It sounds like also people graduating June of 2025 are also eligible.
Yes,
correct?
May, June
Okay.
2025 would be
Great.
eligible. Correct. We've
And then-
received a lot of logistical questions via the QR code submission as well. What we can do is to not take up the time of the panelists. We can craft a response to all of these questions that are more program related, and we can share it, Francesco, with you and Alma and Haley to share out with the participants, if you don't mind, along with the recording from the session.
Perfect. Yeah. So there you go. And then also I wanted to share this quick comment before we get some of the questions. It's from Evelyn Joe. They say, thank you all for sharing. I had similar experiences being all over the place, especially in the fashion industry for designing graphics before coming to SF State. Hearing everyone's diverse backgrounds makes me more confident in the path I'm taking. So again, thank you all, the panelists, for sharing your stories and whatnot. Now, getting into some of the questions here. One really good question they ask, Aman asks, what makes Moët Hennessy's intentions to improve diversity and inclusion honest? What is the brand doing to make sure it's creating a diverse, idea-driven environment versus filling up POC and LGBTQ plus quotas?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would probably pass it on to Ryan.
That's for me. Question for me. I can
Yeah, so
I can answer. I think probably the first thing that comes to my head is the people that work on the ERGs. This it's all, this is them volunteering their time, right? Like this is something outside of their day-to-day. So it's obviously something that they're passionate about, something that the ERG is something that they relate to or they are an ally for. So it makes it a bit more authentic, right? Like the work that we do, just speaking for myself and my ERG, we have we take a lot of time to think about what's going to be the most impactful for our members. And then not only that is how are we showing up to the rest of the organization too, right? Like what are we, when we do have these events, it's nice for us all to get together and fellowship within our ERG community, but how do we kind of inform and help the organization learn more about our group or the people in our group, right? So I think it's the people that make it a bit more authentic. It's not just LVMH saying, hey, we're donating X amount of dollars to this cause. It was actually people rolling up their sleeves, volunteering their time, and really being passionate and putting a lot of thought behind the programming that we do, and then how we impact the overall organization and thinking about having teachable moments for the group or the people that are in the group.
Yeah, Ryan, and even, sorry, I was going to jump in before, but there was some noise behind me. But my group is specifically dedicated to this, obviously being heading the group of IDE. There's a lot of accountability measures that are within our organization. One, for example, is that every employee throughout our organization is actually mandated to include a RISE goal, which is part of our talent review process. So it has to be dedicated around IDE. So whether that's becoming a supplier diversity champion, whether that is joining an ERG and leading something there, or driving some sort of initiative from a commercial perspective that is geared towards a diverse audience. There's just a lot of different examples that we give, but everybody is mandated throughout our organization to really drive and champion this work. So there's accountability measures in place. There are a ton of different initiatives, both internally and externally. We've launched a program called the Inclusive Leadership Program, where it is really ingrained in every single part of our business. So it comes off authentic because it is what we do on a day-to-day basis. It's not a one-off.
Thank you, Tiara. Francesco, any other questions in the chat?
Yeah, so as Alessandra mentioned before, we're going to be sending some of the more technical and like eligibility and stuff like that in when this video comes out. But last question I have for you is actually for Thaisa, specifically pointed towards you, but if there's anyone else that would like to chime in, how often are you able to utilize your language abilities in your job position?
Hi, sorry, I read that question before, but I was waiting to answer. But I would say pretty often. Not so, because right now, since I'm an analyst, I'm more in the office. And when I do get to go out in the market, it's usually with a manager, so I could shadow them in a sense. I would say when I was in travel retail last year, for example, since we worked with different countries, sometimes we get on a call with the Dominican Republic and I'd be able to speak Spanish with them, or we get on a call with Brazil and I'd be able to speak Portuguese with them. And it's a very nice way to connect and kind of just like, even if you don't speak another language, but you find out you both grew up in Boston, or something like that, it's just an extra way to connect with someone and find something in common that can go a long way and like build a relationship with that person. But even I would say in the New York office, there is a lot of people that have backgrounds that are Spanish speaking. So I feel like I even connected that with some of my directors or my managers or even coworkers, and that's a very nice thing to find out. It's like, oh my gosh, like you both speak Spanish. Or I found out one of my coworkers was half Brazilian, so we speak Portuguese sometimes. Yesterday there was a happy hour at the office, and they had a drink that is known to be a Brazilian drink. So I asked someone, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this caipirinha? And then they were like, oh, you're Brazilian. And we just sparked a conversation. So I feel like not only in terms of working and with an account or like a customer, also like in between in the network, it really is nice to like have that common ground. So you do utilize your multiple languages in many ways, I would say, especially in MH, since there's people from everywhere, and especially with this pathways program, hopefully there will be a lot more. So I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Tisa. Before we wrap up, I want to end with a fun question for the panelists. What is your favorite drink or Moët Hennessy product?
Okay, I love this question. My favorite drink, I would say, is an espresso martini, always, but I get it with tequila because I like tequila. So with Volcan, which if you guys haven't tried, it's the best tequila. It's our tequila. But other than that, my favorite of the champagnes is Veuve Clicquot, because if you've seen it, you probably know it. It's the big yellow bottle, you know it from anywhere. And it's a very happy brand, like everything around it. It has the best merch, I would call it. Even in my desk, there's this cup. I love it. It's my favorite brand. I've since I started last year, it's always been the one I like the most because the story behind it, it's a woman-led brand. So I love that one. You guys should check the history out. It's very cool.
I'll go next. I would break it up champagne and so champagne wise, I love Renard, and I wouldn't even have tried it if I wasn't at MH. So Renard, and then spirit side, I'm actually a big Hennessy fan. So I've tried them all, the tequila and vodka, but I mean, I have to stay with Hennessy. Ryan?
Me now, huh? So from the wines and champagne side, I'd definitely say Renard Blanc de Blanc specifically is what I like the most. And then for spirits, since I have to say Hennessy, no, I'm just joking. It's gonna be Hennessy XO on a big rock, just straight to the head. No thrills and frills.
I agree with you guys. Renard is my favorite as well. Perfect. Well, thank you to our panelists so much for your insightful questions and info that you shared. Hopefully this was helpful to all of our participants. Like we said, there were several questions that we unfortunately didn't get to just due to time, but Alexa and I will work on answering those, and we'll share them out with the CSU team. This way they could share it out with all of you. But thank you all so much for joining. Hopefully this was an insightful session, and we look forward to hopefully getting to engage with some of you throughout the internship application process.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a
Bye.
great day. Bye.